Hi, and welcome to BonVoyageTV. I'm Jared Murphy from BonVoyage Cruises and Travel, and I'm joined by
Olivia.
Olivia. She's still Olivia? That's
yes, I'm
good.
still Olivia. And so what have we got on the show tonight, Gerard?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about credit cards because I've got a new one and I'll show you that in a moment.
Excellent.
We have Brett Wendorf from Princess Cruises. They're having their big 50th birthday this year, so he's going to come in and tell us a little bit about that and a very special South America cruise. Of course, we've got more on our New Zealand's Best Packer competition.
Yes.
We have another weekly winner, and you can enter for the chance to win a trip to Hawaii. And of course, you'll bring us the news.
The news, yes. Sounds like a very exciting show that we have on tonight.
Well, I think it is. But first, I'm just going to show you something. My new gift. Not a new gift, but the dear people at Westpac sent me this wonderful credit card.
Oh, it's very shiny.
It's very shiny. It's got a nice big fat credit limit on it.
Excellent.
The reason we talked about this was if you're an Air New Zealand Air Points member, you will know that BNZ effectively got kicked out of the scheme, so you can't earn Air Points with the Global Plus card anymore. That's goner. So all of our clients at Bon Voyage Cruises and Travel have been moving their credit cards. It's cost BNZ big time, but most of them have gone to Westpac. And that's one of the ones I went with because I like credit cards.
Yeah.
I spend a lot. But one of the reasons I went with that is at the moment Westpac are giving triple points for 3 months. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, nice.
But also ANZ, who we do our business banking with, they sent me one as well.
Ah, fabulous. Looks like you're doing a bit of product placement here. Are you getting paid
No,
for this?
I'm not getting I'm not getting paid at all, but the point is, and I wouldn't recommend to people they just go out spending on credit cards because that's a very dangerous thing. And Westpac, I do have to just say, I don't think you asked me enough questions before you sent me a card. It was way too easy, and that's how people get into it. But if I have an accounts lady, Lane, at work who pays all my bills. She pays all my credit cards every month, so I can't get into trouble.
There you go.
And she tells me off when I've spent too much or spent on silly things. But if
Don't you have your wife for that, or so you got two
No,
women?
I've got lots of women. But if you can control your credit card spending, then you do really need to have one of these cards because you're missing opportunities. You could be earning Air Points on all your groceries, your power bill, your rates, everything you do. And if you've got a business, put everything through it. Because I earned enough over the last few years with my old BNZ card, and I spent some money and I booked a trip to Queenstown on Air Points.
That's amazing. I must get amongst that, I think. I'm just with BNZ at the moment, so maybe I'll have to do the switch.
You need to review your credit cards. If you're wondering which is the best deal for you, go to our website. We have got a credit card comparison chart there for Air New Zealand Air Points. We can work the same thing out for you if you've got Qantas Frequent Flyer or whatever. But have a look. It's well worth changing while you can.
Very handy. Not just a travel company, you're a small bank, everything.
People say I'm an owl. Now the other little thing is if you are into shopping, one of the places I like to shop is Hawaii because it's got all those big department stores and outlet malls and things. And you could have a chance to go to Hawaii with our New Zealand's Best Packer competition. Have a look at the ads, inspire yourself, and we will tell you who this week's winner is and how you get to be in the big draw after the break.
spirit of our home lives in moments like these. Hawaiian Airlines. Hawaii flies with us.
Welcome back, and as promised, we have our special guest today, Brett Wendorf from Princess Cruises. Welcome, Brett.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Welcome back to Auckland.
Oh, lovely weather today.
Yeah, well, we put on a beautiful day in Auckland, rain and a little bit of wind, but he comes from Sydney and they've had worse weather than us for a while. So, welcome to New Zealand and to our clouds and everything. Now, you've obviously come from other parts in Australia, but I understand you've been in down under for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Tell us how you managed to get down here.
Look, it's a very New Zealand relevant story. I was actually a Kentucky tour guide in the US and met the woman of my dreams and future wife on board one of my tours, and basically courted the old-fashioned way, pre-internet and pre-cheap phone calls, and eventually bit the bullet and moved down to Brisbane in '97 and moved down to Sydney 2 years ago.
97, that almost makes him an Aussie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll forgive you for that.
They're right.
So also with a bit of history, Princess Cruises is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So it's one of the major players in the cruise industry. So what special things have they got planned in Australia and New Zealand for the 50th birthday?
Got quite a bit on. We started off with the Regal christening in Fort Lauderdale in October, and normally we have a godparent or a godmother on board, but this time to celebrate or recognize the 50 years, they had the entire Love Boat cast and quite a few of the special guests join us on board, and I was American enough and old enough to recognize the Marion Danielses and all the hit big 70s show stars on board. And this year we're doing constant celebrating. There's going to be a fair bit of weight and heavy heads on board Princess ships this year. So we've got special for anyone having their 50th birthday or sharing a 50th anniversary this year. If they travel in the month of that event, they get $50 on board credits. We have a Love Boat style party on board the ships to celebrate our 50th year, where they've got a special message from the Love Boat crew, as well as 70 songs, trivia, and we have a golden balloon drop in our atriums as well, where it's 50 golden balloons drop, and there's a prize on board every one. So it's a fair bit of activity going on. Yeah.
And whereabouts is Princess Cruises going? Is it worldwide or?
Look, we go worldwide, over 330 ports worldwide, but I guess our main focus and what people love about us is that we specialize on the long cruise. So, from Auckland, you could go around the world literally over 100 days. We just released the new South America cruise, where you could literally board a ship in Auckland and travel around for nearly 3 months and circumnavigate South America. So that's Princess passengers are loyal, so we need to create these long cruises that have never gone anywhere before. Yeah.
Wow. So South America for me was one of my favourite places that I visited when I was travelling for the last 7 years. What are the highlights of the cruises that you do around South America?
The major highlight I'd say would be our time we're spending up in Peru and Ecuador. There's opportunities to go on shore excursions and go to Galapagos or go to
beautiful.
Machu Picchu. And from my time in travel, the Andes area, Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, was always such an amazing cultural experience, as well as the contrast there is quite amazing. So I think that would be the highlight on the western side. On the eastern side, we're going to Rio. We're just missing out in the Carnival in Rio in a couple days, but Carnival is a whole Brazilian thing. It's not just isolated to one town. And whereas Rio has become this big, massive arena festival thing, it's a street festival in other cities that we're going to. So clients will be able to see it at the grassroots level and kind of be able to participate as opposed to being a spectator. So I think that's a big plus for us.
And how long do they get to spend on shore and go on excursions and things like that? Can they hike Machu Picchu or?
Our clients will get a chance to experience, so they'll take the rail up there and then they'll get a chance to explore and coming up straight from the port, just walking around Machu Picchu is going to be a nice challenge for them. But they'll get to see the ruins and get to see the history, and also get to enjoy the train ride up there.
And just seeing land from sea, I think, is one of the most beautiful views that you can get. What do you think?
By all means, South America, to do it on a truck or to do it overland, it would probably take 4 months to do what we do, literally in 2.5 months with the cruising from Australasia included. But you get to cross Cape York, and crossing the Cape is one of the biggest, for sailors, it's one of the most iconic moments you could have, and certainly seeing the fjords and the glaciers in the south of Chile and Argentina, it will be extraordinary. So we also have trips out to some of the islands, which on their own would cost quite a fair bit. So there's a great deal of value on this cruise.
Oh, it sounds fabulous. And what about wildlife? What sort of wildlife do you see from the cruise?
There's none on board.
Yeah.
Well, there might be.
At the Love Boat, at the Love Boat
Sea
party, yeah. No, it depends on the location. So there'll be penguin rookeries in the south. When you get into the Andes, of course, you have the alpacas and llamas and that sorts of things.
Yeah.
Into some of the jungle excursions, you'll see just about everything from anaconda. No piranhas on board the ship, but there might be opportunity to go fishing for those. Capybaras, just all sorts of animals that are a bit different from what we have in Australia and certainly in New Zealand.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned before that one of the specialties with Princess, particularly for this part of the world, is the long cruises. What other itineraries we have? You mentioned around the world from New Zealand and Australia, 100 odd days, but there's some others around Asia Pacific. What else do we have? Yeah,
Asia Pacific, Alaska is a huge seller for us. Europe, the Mediterranean, the Baltics are extraordinary, doing well for us, and very popular through the New Zealand and Australian market. And Asia, as you mentioned. So Japan is kind of the new upcoming thing, similar to, I guess, New Zealand, and it's an island nation. But cost-wise, it's very affordable to do cruising. We're doing a land-based tour, is quite expensive. Plus, you have the option to do a quick stopover in Russia and Korea, so you could hit some amazing.
Add something else.
The bucket list things. I've been to Russia, just in a day, but I went to Russia, so that sort of thing really makes cruising quite attractive.
And Brett, closer to home, Princess, I think, are the #1 cruise company visiting New Zealand over the summer. I think you have more ships in our ports than anybody. That's closer to home. Why is New Zealand such a big deal for you?
It's the New Zealanders. We love them. Our market, the South Pacific market, tends to gravitate more toward the family market or the young couples, whereas New Zealand tends to be, our local market tends to be over 45, probably more over 55. And New Zealand's an aspirational destination for them, and you're spot on, Gerard, in terms of our deployments to New Zealand. We actually have more New Zealand sailings than all the other ships combined, all the other cruise companies combined. So it's a very popular destination. 2015 has been fantastic for us. But it's just, there's so much to see by the sea, and it's an island nation, as I mentioned before, so they can really get a sense for how amazing your nation is from a cruise ship, whereas they may not get that appreciation by traveling on the roads.
And one of the things I see, because you get this criticism that cruise companies come in and the tourists they don't spend any money because they've got everything on board. And I try and tell people that's a fallacy, and I try to tell them, particularly in Auckland, go down when a ship's in and see how much New Zealand produce is being loaded. What else does New Zealand have to do to keep your ships coming and growing it?
Oh, I think you've alluded to. I think, and culturally, we buy a lot of New Zealand wine. We have a lot of Maori dancers and local dancers come on. The New Zealand craft beers are sold on board our ships as well. So it's not just actually what they spend when they go on shore. It's the amount of stuff that we bring on board to really enlighten them on how amazing the New Zealand culture is.
And Brett, what do you do differently on Princess Cruises here in New Zealand as opposed to worldwide?
The biggest draw for our market, and it's going to be available across all our ships that are going to be home ported around Australia and New Zealand for 2015, is that we don't have tipping.
And as a former crew member myself, what happens to the poor crew on board if they don't get tips?
Oh, they get tipped, but it's just basically it's from internal process and not something we reach out externally.
Okay,
So yeah, they're looked after. It takes a bit of pressure off them. The service you're getting on board isn't there just to get better tips. It's genuine, heartfelt service.
Yeah.
We also use Aussie dollars on board, which doesn't quite make the mark for the Kiwis, but
It's just about the same.
yeah, it's better than US dollars, and we'll be one of the few ships that are doing that this year. And I think just overall the Princess attitude, we position ourselves as contemporary, so it's not white glove service and it's not singlet thong and footy shorts. It's professional, it's consummate host. But it's relaxed and it's first name basis, and you literally feel like you're at home when you go there. It's like going out and having a barbecue with a few mates, and everyone's saying good day and waving, and that's why literally people come on board and say it's great to be back home, and that's what I think why Princess really is so well received here in Australia and New Zealand.
So most of the Princess ships in this area have 2 or more specialty dining restaurants. What's involved with that? Is that all included in the fare, or how does that work?
Generally, there's a small fee for the specialty dining, and generally it sits somewhere around $25 US. And the reason that there is a small fee is that you'd never be able to get in otherwise. So it really makes people that are quite serious about their food to make sure that they have access to it. But anytime you spend money on board any Princess ship, you'll get your money's worth. I went on Golden Princess, the Crown Grill, paid $25 US for a meal there, and had 6 lobster tails. So
Wow.
here's $50, here's $100. I mean, it's just the standards. The standard is on board any Princess ship, even in our included restaurants, it's exceptional. But on board the signature restaurants, it's very, very memorable.
So if we did one of those long cruises, well, if you did it, 76 nights, 6 lobster tails a night.
Yeah.
There's a gym on board, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, and that's the funny thing is people don't look at cruising as being something that you'd stay fit on. You do have to watch. The meals are great, and it's most of the meals are free, so you do have to watch what you eat. But yeah, there's you could walk around the perimeter of our ships. On our Sun class ships, it's 5 laps per K. There's a gym that you always have access to. So if you want to stay fit, a cruise ship's actually a great place to do it.
And of course, there's always good wine. And
if you don't want to stay fit, a cruise ship's a great place to do it.
so we do have to wrap up now, Brett, but it's customary for our guests to receive a bottle of our sponsor's product, In Vivo Wines. So
fantastic.
do take that home, and if your supply people are ever looking for a new winery, give us a call. I'll only take a small commission, but we'll get you a good deal on In Vivo Wines.
I've heard great things about this. I really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brett.
Olivia.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back with more after this short break.
At In Vivo, we've got the biggest crush on Graham Norton. So we flew all the way to his place so he could have a crush on us. Graham Norton's own Sauvignon Blanc. Southern Hemisphere grapes meet Northern Hemisphere fab.
2015 marks 50 years of transformative travel with Princess Cruises. How will we celebrate? By giving you more of what you love. New ways to explore the world. New foods to taste. New faces to meet. New stories to share. We will create a brand new program called Discovery at Sea with the people who care about exploring the world just as much as we do, the Discovery Network. We'll offer new ways to discover those we share the universe with, those we share the Alaskan wilderness with, those who share the Caribbean seas with us. And we'll offer even deeper, more enriching regional experiences than ever before, everywhere we sail, all around the world. This will be the year to marvel at ancient European cities, to delight in local ingredients and immerse yourself in the culture of the shores you just sailed to explore forbidden cities, to sample sun-warmed island pineapple in the Caribbean, or fresh sashimi in Japan. Being at sea can heighten your senses and transform the way you taste. And never more than in 2015, with the addition of exclusive chocolate journeys desserts from master chocolatier Norman Love, and the chance to taste our new limited edition 50th anniversary menus. Whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned world traveller, join us for our 50th anniversary year. It will be a celebration of new, inspiring and delicious ways to discover your world. So many ways to come back new.
Welcome back. So, did Brett inspire you to
Oh, that's
hop on a ship again?
Absolutely. God, that South America trip just sounds incredible, doesn't it? So you didn't tell us how much it is, though.
Oh, we can't tell you. It's a secret.
I don't have a credit card.
I can tell you. I can tell you actually. As I think we alluded to, it's quite a long itinerary, so you've got to have a bit of time off. It's 76 nights. That's
Wow.
not too long. It's only sort of 2.5 months. But we have had a lot of people book already, so a lot of people got a lot of time. You have to be perfectly honest, you have to have a bit of money spare, but not immediately because the cruise isn't till January 2017. You don't have to pay most of the trip until October next year, so lots of time to save. But to give you an idea, 76 nights, that is going right around South America. All your meals, all your entertainment, all those lovely ports, 76 nights. It's not actually too bad if you work out it on a daily rate. But an inside cabin per person is around just under, a tad under $18,000. An ocean view cabin, so you've got a big picture window, they're just under $22,000. And if you want a balcony, which would be just lovely on some of those big long ocean days, just
Yeah, and the hot sun.
yeah, reading your own book and just,
Yeah.
well, of course you'd read your own book.
You're not going to be reading something.
Reading a book in your own cabin, just to, having a bit of peace and quiet. They're just under 27,000, and we've had a few people book in suites, which give you much more space, a little bit of luxury. They're 41,500.
Wow. And how many people can you fit in the suites, though?
Just two.
Just two people.
two.
Yeah, yeah.
There are some cabins that take 3 and 4, but it's not all you giving us money. We'll give you some back. We'll give you an onboard credit of 800 Australian dollars, because it's Australian dollars aboard, 800 Australian dollars to spend per person.
Nice.
If you've cruised with Princess before, they will give you a little bit of a discount on the fare, and you get 1,600 Australian dollars to spend.
Wow. That's
So-
very nice.
You got a head start.
Yeah.
Now, I realise that not everybody has 76 days spare, so you might be saying, what else got to do with Princess? A little bit closer to home, a little bit shorter, a little bit cheaper. And I've got one for you. You can join me on my personal family holiday. This is unusual. But I've actually selected a Princess cruise for our Christmas holiday this year. We're doing it with a small group from our family. Leaves on the 17th of December. It's Diamond Princess, which was one of their bigger ships. And that sails from Auckland back to Auckland. You don't have to go near a plane. And it's 13 nights long. Auckland to Sydney, back to Fiordland, Port Chalmers for Dunedin, Akaroa, Picton, Tauranga and back to Auckland. So the fares for this, an inside cabin is from 2,529 per person, an ocean view cabin with a big picture window from 2,772, and a balcony cabin from 3,827. And again, it's not all just take, we will give as well. And we'll give you about $75 per person Australian to spend on board. And if anyone books on my family holiday, I will have a little cocktail party, especially on the ship, probably in the middle of the Tasman after we've been to Bay of Islands on the way to Sydney. So.
It all sounds very fabulous and lovely, but we don't know your family, Gerard. They could be little terrors.
Not little terrace. We have some interesting people in the family. You don't have to meet the rest of the family, just me for the cocktail party, but we'll have a great cruise. Now, speaking of family, how would you like to go on this little family holiday?
Definitely not.
Now, you're going to tell us
Actually.
you're going to tell us about that in the news.
Yes, Gerard, I have a story about a crazy family holiday. More than 6,000 employees of a Chinese company were shouted at all expenses holiday to France by their boss Li Jinwan and given the VIP treatment to celebrate the company's 20th birthday.
Not only did he provide a wonderful trip, but he gave them all a nice uniform to wear on the holiday as well.
Yes, and I have a story about that, Gerard. All the staff members lined up on the waterfront promenade at De Anglais to spell out the phrase, Tien's dream is nice in the Côte d'Azur. So they broke a Guinness World Record for forming the largest human sentence.
I didn't know there was a Guinness record for that.
There's a Guinness World Record for almost everything, I think, that you could think of. But yeah, so all 6,000 of them dressed up in the same little blue hats and uniforms.
That'd be quite amazing, because I'd imagine sort of, you know, going down with your husband or wife and you're having a nice weekend away in Nice, and 6,000 tourists all dressed in the same thing would be quite sort of overpowering.
It would be spectacular, but I'd also be very off it, to be quite frank. If I was having a beautiful weekend in Nice, you want romance and quiet, tranquil, don't you?
There might have been a bit of intercompany romance with the 6,000 people. It could have been a bit of fun.
Possibly. So back to the trip. The tour group, the largest to visit France, was given a private tour of the Louvre Museum and a private shopping session at luxury department store Galeries Lafayette during their 4-day trip. So according to local media, the company booked 4,760 rooms in 79 hotels between Cannes and Monaco and 146 tour buses. Wouldn't you have liked that booking, Gerard?
The money would have been great, but the logistics of it would be quite
A nightmare.
weird. They'd be over the top.
Worth it though, got to be worth it.
We'll
Surely.
give it a go. So give them my card.
Moving on, a Japanese real estate mogul forgot his $100,000 Cartier watch at a New York airport checkpoint, but lucky for him, an honest TSA agent was working the lane and kept it safe, officials said on Tuesday. New York is actually one of the top 10 airports in the US for employees fired for stealing.
Well, that's handy to know.
Yeah, it is.
Be careful with your stuff at Newark Airport.
But amazingly, this agent was able to resist the allure of the glittering timepiece, which is encrusted with more than 100 diamonds. The owner of the watch, a Japanese real estate entrepreneur who oversees multiple hotels and resorts in Japan and other countries, accidentally left the watch behind at the checkpoint on his way to Japan. Just accidentally. Dropped his $100,000 watch.
I can kind of see why it wasn't pocketed, because it looks like a fake.
Yeah, it does. It does, doesn't it?
So they probably thought that's rubbish. Hand that into lost property.
All right, but something that's not fake, Gerard, is the chance to win a trip to Hawaii.
We don't have fake competitions on this
No,
program.
absolutely not. Very serious about our competitions. We have our weekly winner for the Voyager luggage, and that is Lucy Rayhana. She did an amazing job at packing her bag.
We don't necessarily have to have a Steven Spielberg production of you packing. Just pack it nicely, send us the photo or a video if you're doing those, and you could be selected as a weekly winner and have the chance to be a finalist, one of the 3 finalists. Come into the studio where Olivia and I will help you. We may not help, we may just criticise, and watch you pack. And one of the 3 people who packs live in the studio will be heading off to Hawaii with the wonderful trip with Hawaiian Airlines, 5 nights at the Modern Hotel, the Friday night fireworks display I'm organising, and just a wonderful trip to Hawaii. Don't miss it. Enter.
All right, Gerard, I've just been told that we are running out of time, so it's time
Already?
to say bon voyage.
That was a very quick show. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.